Buongiorno, benvenuti, good morning everyone, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow enthusiasts of Italian culture and cuisine. I extend a warm welcome to this live and immersive experience that promises to tantalize your taste, buds, and transport you to the heart of Emilia Romagna. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit and Métis people. Our gathering today celebrates the week of Italian cuisine in the world, a global celebration orchestrated by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, aimed at showcasing the authenticity of Italian ingredients worldwide. The Italian Trade Agency and Confartigianato, an association championing talented artisans and farms, promotes a business program to bridge the gap between the realms of catering and trade operators. We have a virtual delegation representing 25 esteemed companies from Emilia Romagna, eager to explore the Canadian market. Their profiles are showcased in an online catalog following their participation in meetings with Canadian importers during a purchasing mission to Rimini in September. This journey is poised to cultivate meaningful collaborations and forge connections. Emilia-Romagna, a jewel within this captivating region, boasts an unparalleled European distinction with over 200 traditional products and 26 ingredients enjoying geographical protection recognition from European Union. It is no wonder that this region is hailed as the very heart of Italy's culinary excellence. This region is celebrated and renowned for its iconic Parmigiano Reggiano, traditional balsamic vinegar, and premium prosciutto. Beyond these staples, Emilia-Romagna excels in the production of high-quality pasta, wines, and olive oils. What sets Emilia-Romagna apart is the seamless blend of tradition and innovation within its agri-food sector. From beloved family-operated pasta establishments and consortia to cooperatives of producers and consumers, multinational popular branded bakeries and pasta makers, and cutting-edge wineries, the agri-food scenery in Emilia-Romagna stands out for its harmonious blend of heritage and modern culinary excellence. Delving into the agri-food offerings of Emilia-Romagna, we commence a sensory journey. Each bite becomes a narrative of culinary mastery, a testament to the rich tapestry of flavors that defines this exceptional region. Our esteemed Chef Luciano Schipano, where is he? Luciano, ciao, will generously share his expert tricks and secrets, empowering our audience to cook a main course of homemade egg pasta in the traditional Emilian style, like seasoned professionals. The low altitudes and the fertile soils of the Po River Valley, coupled with the stunning Apennine mountain range, create an extraordinary mosaic of environments that fosters an astounding variety of gastronomic experiences. I encourage you to savor not only the flavors, but also the connections, stories woven into each dish. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the captivating masterclass that awaits you both live and online. Thank you very much. Thank you, Luciano.
Thank you, Pietro. Well, it's a true an honor to be here. Buongiorno, welcome everybody at this masterclass organized by the Italian Trade Commission and Confartigianato in occasion of the International Week of Italian Cuisine in the World. It's at the 8th edition, and for me it's such a pleasure to be representing Italy and Emilia Romagna, even though I'm Calabrese, in this occasion. But Emilia Romagna has such a great history and so much to tell us. I believe that can be the mangiare, that can be of the Italian cuisine. A lot of recipe that we consume and in product that we eat today come from Emilia Romagna. But we have to go very, very back in the days when the Romans, because Emilia Romagna was under the Roman Empire, and Emilia takes the name from the console Emiliano, when he built the first street, La Via Emilia. And then La Romagna, they give the name to Ravenna, so La Romagna created and from La Via Emilia and Romania, the Emilia Romagna. Of course, when we talk about Emilia Romagna, the first probably 3 products and ingredients that will come in our mind can be Parmigiano Reggiano, prosciutto crudo di Parma, and of course, aceto balsamico di Modena, or, you know, in the whole region. But that's what the 3 products we know. Emilia Romagna is not just that. So Emilia Romagna is pecorino also, because maybe we think about pecorino crotonese, but there is also pecorino. There is a great cheeses, salumi, because we are affiliated to Marche, Abruzzi. So there is a lot of traditions of cured meat. And Italian cuisine developed in the history, because what we know about the Italian cuisine is not what it was 1,000 years ago. There is not an Italian cuisine. There is a regional cuisine. So Italian cuisine is made for so many local and regional recipes that put them together creates what today is such a powerful, rich, and healthy living. That's why this year we're celebrating il benessere a tavola, eating with well-being. And Italian cuisine offers this type of color, seasonal, and healthy ingredients. Italian made themselves a lot of culture, so it's not just about eating, it's about socializing, being together. Okay? Today we're celebrating Emilia Romagna. I'm putting together a recipe called garganelli alla zingara. We're going to talk about later on, but to make a garganelli alla zingara, first we talk about making egg pasta, egg noodles, using a 00 flour, farina 00, semola rimacinata, and delle uova. When he talks about eggs, and I give you a little bit of a curiosity, so Italians, they don't actually have a quantities. If you read a recipe, it can say quanto basta, to taste, or by the eyes. That's my grandmother used to do. Crack an egg, mix flour, and miraculously, you know, she in a couple hours cook up a storm. But when it comes to eggs in North America, we have a different size. We have a large, extra large, medium. So Italians, when it talks about add 1 egg, is a medium egg. Because our chicken don't make naturally eggs bigger than medium. So of course nowadays to get a large and extra large, so we know what happened in our farms. But go back to our, you know, roots, we're going to have a natural egg. A natural egg will be a medium size. And I discovered this since I moved here in Canada 12 years ago. Applying my recipes from back home, so I was adding 3 eggs, and the recipe would never come out the same. I started doing some research. So a medium egg may weigh 40-45 grams. A large egg is 50 to 55, an extra large egg is 55 to 60 grams. Now think about the 15-20 grams of each egg in a recipe that requires 5 eggs. It's 100 grams of eggs that you put extra, and your recipe says, the chef gave me the wrong recipe. It's not, right? Anyways, so the eggs, the flour, we're going to make egg pasta today. We have some tools over here. The Italian mother weapon, mattarello. So this, we have different versions, and that's how it was before and how it is nowadays. So we're going to actually use our countertop mixer to mix our dough, and we're going to roll the sheets of the pasta with the machine. Some pasta cutter, old school, a little bit more upgraded, and our tavolozza from ITA, so to where we make cookies and pasta. How to make a garganelli alla zingara? Alla zingara, we have the ingredients. We have a pepper, gold onion, mushrooms. I like to add a little bit of extra mushroom to give a stronger profile in that, and pancetta. And over here, we're going to have the pots we're going to do. So let's go to our recipe. So I have here a bowl. I'm going to crack the eggs. I already measured for convenience the flour. We have 250 grams of farina 00. And we have 100 grams of durum semolina. I'm going to mix them together and use the hook. My grandma always used to add a pinch of salt and then we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to give a little bit more the fatness, but the eggs already give the fat and the protein. The elasticity comes from the white egg, so that's we already know. So let's add 2 eggs. We're going to add actually 3 eggs. If you want a pasta that can be rich in color, you can add a yolk. So that's, you know, the yolk gives a little more yellow in your pasta dough. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil, extra virgin olive oil, of course. Can be a matter of a teaspoon if you really are into quantities. I cook a sentimento, so I go with by the eyes. Going to put this up. Oh, of course. Okay. Bello della diretta. This up. If you don't have a stand mixer, of course, you can, there you go. You have to wait until the hook is going to actually mix in all the flour. After that, you can leave it to the mixer to finish the product. You can use a spoon just to help the flour to get mixed. You stop the machine when you do this. And I always invite, when you do this work at home, if you have a kids, invite your kids. It's nice to show them these traditional recipes and to actually make something homemade. I have over here a little bit of water just in case you need to add moist. So there is never a perfect recipe because the eggs, they can be slightly bigger or smaller, so you always have to be prepared to add a little bit of more water or more flour. So they have to balance out the recipe and that's in that way. If there is a question, it's about Italy eating pasta, because Italians say, I always been eating pasta my whole life. But Italians, they never eat pasta until Marco Polo actually went to China. Or actually, until, pardon me? Yes, I was just going to connect to that. There is a different marriage that we have to actually be grateful. The Greek, when they meet the Romans, because Romans, they were just eating plain food with the cinnamon and sugar. Think about it, they were eating pasta with the cinnamon and sugar. But the Greeks come to Italy. They start going to Puglia, Basilicata, Campania. They start to bring in to Italy extra virgin olive oil and wine. So they added to the Romans, to the habits, this type of ingredients. Marco Polo went to China, and when he came back, he brought us herbs spices that Italian they wouldn't know before. So see how the Italian cuisine start building together. It wasn't like that before. And we start eating tomato sauce. When we start eating tomato sauce? When Colombo discovered America. So from the South America, we start bringing pimento, tomatoes, and other beautiful ingredients. So Italian, they got these ingredients, they got these products, and they made today an excellence of our country. So it's fantastic to see how in the last 1,000 years, 600 years, Italian cuisine keep upgrading, and getting today one of the most, if not the best, food in the world. We compete with our cousins all to the Alps, with the French, but I believe, right, with a lot of respect for French cuisine, Italian cuisine represents a lot of, the seasonality, the seasonal food, colors. The difference from the north to the south, we have in the north a lot of butter, the cream, parmigiano. In the south, we have a lot of dairy that come from sheep, from goats. So the pecorino, the ricotta, la pastiera napolitana made with the sheep's ricotta. So this is the beauty of Italy. And then, we have this association, like think Confartigianato, they put together an association of all the artisanal companies, small companies, to promote them and to help them to be out. Okay, so now I need to put this together. We're going to add a little bit of water. Okay. Until the dough is formed. So if you make a dough by the hands, it will take probably 30 to 40 minutes. So you have to work with your wrist, a little bit of greasing your elbow, extra virgin olive oil, whatever you like to keep it lubricate, and work it out to develop gluten. So until the dough is formed like a nice solid ball, shiny. Of course, nowadays we have tools that are going to help us in the kitchen. I'm adding slowly water because the dough inside is crumbling. So adding a little bit of water is going to help to bind all together. There you go. Perfect. So the dough is now working. I'm going to add a little bit of flour because I need to dry it out, but we're going to wait for that. Okay. Meanwhile, let me introduce you a little bit the ingredients that we're going to make. It is a garganelli alla zingara. First of all, give me the opportunity to say what's garganelli. Doesn't come from Gargano, which is a river down in Puglia, because we are in Emilia Romagna, but garganelli takes the name from the gullet of the rooster. So you're going to see the shape of this, okay? So, and most like garganelli were not eaten with a heavy sauce, because ci sono I garganelli in brodo. Emilia Romagna is well known to eat tortellini, cappellacci in brodo, in broth. So garganelli was one of the type of pasta. It looks like the names come from the gullet of a rooster, but when it has been discovered or made the garganelli, made with the gnocchi tab and a stick, it was actually someone making tortellini. And it has this small piece of lasagna, because lasagna means pasta sheets. So don't think about lasagna what we're eating today. Lasagna is a cut, is a shape, a format of pasta. Then lasagna alla bolognese, alla ferrarese are what we know eating in our restaurant. But lasagna is the name of a generic pasta. It can be penne, linguine, spaghetti, rigatoni, we name it. So the small piece of dough is called lasagna, piece of sheets. And perhaps from the north to the south, a lot of people were eating lagane e ceci. lasagne e ceci, so chickpeas and strips of lasagna, like maltagliati, are just the cut of making lasagna, pappardelle, or whatever you are making as a pasta sheet. All right. So I do have a gloves, but believe it or not, sometimes to have the texture of the dough, you just need your bare hands. You need to understand the moist of the whatever you're cooking. So you have to touch, you have to feel it. This is very important. Of course, safety and hygiene is very important. Keep washing constantly your hands in the kitchen. So I'm touching the dough. It's a little soft. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of flour while we're talking about the rest of the ingredients to make garganelli alla zingara, the gypsy garganelli. Okay. In this case, I'm using gloves because I'm touching the pancetta, which is grease. There you go. So before pasta was actually becoming a staple dish in Italy, and Greeks come to find us, Romans were used to eat a lot of polenta, and the only flour they actually knew, it was buckwheat. So the actually flour we use, to make only bread. Or pastries. So still the flour was not something that was used to make pasta. And as a protein, even meat, the only meat consumed everywhere in Italy was pork. So we're talking about Roman style, Roman period. Whoever had cows was to make the cheese, milk products, and of course, if the rich people, the nobili, they used to eat the game meat, and there was no tomato sauce. So most like when the pasta arrived, was either cooked in broth, o i romani oggi ci hanno insegnato come è arrivata la cacio e pepe, that today is one of the fanciest dishes that we eat in restaurants, because pasta was only made with lard or extra virgin olive oil and cheese, pecorino, most likely. So la cacio e pepe. After the cacio e pepe, they start adding la pancetta, and we start having la gricia. That's the evolution of a dish. From pasta alla gricia, they decide to add an egg, and they get a pasta alla carbonara. But if you don't add egg, you add a tomato, you're going to get the amatriciana. So think how beautiful it is being working in Italian cuisine. Just a changing or substituting few ingredients, you get new dishes. Okay, our dough is ready. I'm going to show you the product. I'm going to put it together. You see it's soft. It still is, you can work on it. So I'm going to just put it together. I'm going to wrap it with a film, with a plastic wrap, and I let it rest. Because in Italian cuisine, in all good things, you need time. Don't rush when you cook. Enjoy. And get a glass of wine. Maybe you can sip a glass of wine, invite some people around, you get some charcuterie, some Parmigiano Reggiano, and enjoy your time. Okay. So while we are waiting for the dough to rest, we continue working on our sauce. So I'm cutting the pancetta. I'm going to dice it. For those who doesn't know who is myself, who is Chef Luciano, I am an Italian chef, moved to Canada 12 years ago, 2011, on June 2nd. I think every immigrant remembers the day who moved from Italy, and something like celebrating your birthday. Nowadays, I'm owner of Boccaccio Ristorante in Toronto at the Columbus Center. I'm president of the Italian Federation Chefs of Canada, which is my pleasure and an honor to represent so many talented chefs, Italians, that as I did before, they moved to Canada to make their living, and they're still doing this profession. A profession that requires a lot of work, passion for what we're doing as ambassador of the Italian cuisine in the world. I also own Caffè Cinquecento, which is a coffee shop in the Columbus Center, a catering company, a staffing agency, and a cafeteria in a high school where we cook healthy food for students. And I always believe that in order to cook quality recipes, you need a quality ingredients. Respect the ingredients. That is a very, very important in what we're doing. So we promote all, of course, made in Italy. We promote what is a seasonal. And especially this year, old food that comes from a Mediterranean diet that helps us to be more healthy. And let me say sometime, I like to say that Italians don't actually like food. They don't eat food because they like to eat. They like to socialize. This is a part of our culture. So in order to stay together, we put out food. And sometimes, if you're not sure if you know, but we do spaghettata di mezzanotte. Midnight, we have a spaghetti alle olio. Because we're hungry, because we don't want to go home. We want to socialize, want to be together. It is part of the culture. L'aperitivo is another part of an Italian day. After work, getting together, stop thinking about work, and let's have a little bit of enjoyment. Okay, so we are dicing the pancetta. We are just adding a little bit of olive oil in our rondeau. I actually was able to post this recipe on my website, so you can find on recipe.lucianoschipano.com. So if you want to have a copy of this recipe, you can print it. There you go. Pancetta. I'm going to transfer in this dish. I'm going to get some of the onion. Gold onion. If we were in Calabria, we use the red onion from Tropea. But most like in the Emilia Romagna, in the north of Italy, we have very common the yellow onion. If you make a stock, what I recommend, don't throw the skin. It actually got the onion and do the stock with the whole skin. This skin, we're gonna give you a golden broth. If you ever wonder how this broth can be naturally gold and yellow and delicious, because you use this. And as a president of Slow Food Toronto, you know, I always want to say that try to reduce waste in our kitchen and utilize all the parts that we're cooking. So everything can be repurposed. And it has a purpose. There you go. Yes. The taste won't change. It's just about the color. Now, we're talking about dyes in an onion, not chopping an onion. So if you're gonna give a little trick how to dice an onion, you just cut the onion horizontally, then you're gonna give a cut on the top. There you go. And then you're gonna have your diced onion. Very simple. Of course, my grandma will be there chopping, and I will do probably the same back in the days. But then, you know, becoming a professional chef actually allows you, and I enjoy it. It's so cool. Okay. So let's start with the soffritto. Have our onion. And while the soffritto is going to finish with our pepperoni, with the red pepper and mushroom, I'm going to finish with the other product. The reason why this garganelli alla zingara, why the name gypsy to this plate, is just because the colors. And the mix usually is also, in Italy, is mostly used una cucina maritata, married. So when the meat the vegetables. So it's a meeting between two weird ingredients. Okay, so una minestra maritata is a soup, a nice heavy soup with mini meatballs, with pancetta, with some strip of meat. So it's una minestra maritata. In this case, when it's called about gypsy, it's not just about the meat, but because the color that we use in this case. Extra virgin olive oil. If you wonder, the brand is my mother olive oil, because we have in Calabria actually a farm. We bring olive oil here in Canada. Be generous, don't be shy, but not too much, because pancetta is going to release his own fat. Okay? And this is not a bad fat. It's actually a natural fat. So it's something that is not margarine. This is a chemical. It's made, chemically. Just wait for the oil to be hot. We have the mushroom and the pepper. Here I'm going to show you, when it comes to champignon, to white mushroom, I would love to be in Italy actually and be foraging. That are fungi. That is another part of the Italian culture, foraging, going in the forest and picking mushroom. Has two things. You go out for a walk. It's just enjoy free oxygen. Mother Nature give it to us this. Okay, the oil is hot. I'm going to add the onion. Just the smell of the soffritto remembers me when I was walking these little villages back home. Lunchtime, everybody was cooking in sauce, so you may understand all the neighbors where they are cooking today. A soffritto, it just brings me such a great memories for my childhood. So we wait for the onion just to be slightly cooked, like translucent. And after that, we're going to add our pancetta. Our dough is here. As you can see, we're going to work on this in a little bit. We're going to add the pasta cheddar instead of using the mattarello. But again, the mattarello, it was a lot of fun and a lot of work. On a Sunday morning, I would not, forget my grandmother leaving all the table and make this huge pasta sheet. And then she was precise with a knife, cutting all this egg fettuccine. And everybody got to church, and after, it was a feast. Sugo Sunday. We're going to make this pasta called ragu. Okay, we're going to add our pancetta. And while the pancetta is going to cook, we're going to work on our mushroom and our pepperoni. So how to clean the mushrooms? I don't recommend to put this in water, because if you put them in water, they get soggy. They're like a sponge. So very, very simple. Get a rag, or if you have one brand new brush, you know, when you have this, and just take any of the soil or the dirt off. Very simple. You keep your mushroom dry. Visually, you're going to see if you have any black spot of dirt, of soil. There you go. For the pepper, instead, we're going to cut them in half. We're going to take the seeds and the white part off, checking if there is any seeds. Okay. Some color. There you go. So who doesn't know pancetta? Pancetta is made from the belly of the pork. If think about the bacon, but it's a pancetta. It's a pork belly. You season it, age it, and then, of course, we have for la gricia or carbonara, il guanciale, which is different from pancetta. Guanciale is made from the chick, so the jowl of the pork. And that's what is used to make actually the gricia and carbonara. So don't trust if they say our carbonara is made with the pancetta. Authentic carbonara and gricia is made with guanciale. And we have to say that, you know, we have a great Italian product here in Toronto, here in Canada, that you just need to find the right grocery store, the right store that supplies them. And the Italian Trade Commission has done a fantastic job along the years to bring and select importers and helping Italian and not just Italian to find Italian products on the shelves and refrigerators. And of course, working with companies and associations, working with associations like Confartigianato is a great opportunity to also bring over new products and different products. I'm gonna add our pepperoni while I'm dicing this. I'm gonna reduce the heat. This recipe, I have a variation. If you really want to play a little bit around, this is right now is over the season, but when it's season to roast pepper, so you can actually roast the pepper and add the roasted pepper in this recipe. It will give a different profile and texture to the dish. If we're talking about health, about these products, pepper are very healthy. They contain more vitamin C than an orange. We used to have, okay, I have a cold, I'm gonna get a lot of liters and liters of orange juice. But orange has a lot of sugars as well. Pepper, peperoncino, as a Calabrese say pure peperoncino, but pepper, sweet pepper, they have not as much sugar, and they have almost double the vitamin C compared to an orange. So there we go back to the theme of these years, a tavola con benessere, mangiare bene, stare bene, so being healthy and eating healthy. Gonna add a little bit of yellow pepper. It's gonna give it some nice color to this dish. You can play with other ingredients if you really want. You can also take the pancetta away if you don't want pancetta, if you don't want meat in this dish, just take the pancetta out of your recipe. Mushroom, instead, we talk about, again, what the vitamins or what the minerals. Mushroom are a natural source of zinc. So zinc are present either in oysters, very high in oyster, and mushroom. And zinc is very important to the function of your brain. So eating mushroom is actually a great food. That's why all food is important. And I tell you, since I moved to Canada, the only vitamin actually that I take is a vitamin D because there is not enough sun. All other vitamins are on my table. This is what we eat. You are what you eat. So I always got into a lot of health, and the healthy food, there is not an unhealthy food. The junk food is not healthy for sure, right? And there is all the time when you do an abuse. If you eat fried food once in a while, there's nothing wrong. But if you eat every day, of course, your body is going to respond to that. And then we go back to the La Dieta Mediterranea, the pyramid of the food, right? That tells you what to eat weekly, what to eat daily in your diet. Then I add the mushroom. Go. In Emilia Romagna, I want to mention one of the first cookbook recipe, thanks to Pellegrino Artusi. He's the one who wrote this book, La scienza in cucina e l'arte di mangiare bene, the science in the kitchen and the art to eat well. And if you find this book, please buy it. Read this book. He will tell you things that today doctors tell us. Or we watch YouTubes or other channels, other bloggers that tell you what to eat or how to cook, when Pellegrino Artusi was already telling this in the 18th century. If you go in Emilia Romagna to Formimpopoli, you're going to find a Casa Artusi. Casa Artusi is a great place. There is a restaurant, there is a cooking school where they keep the tradition of cooking well, and also we have an association called Le Mariette. Le Mariette Marietta was the wife of Pellegrino Artusi, and they teach how to make a fresh pasta. So it's just fascinating. I read a book. I really have it in my kitchen. I got it here. So if anybody wants to have a look after the class, please feel free to have a look at the book. You can easily find an Italian and English version, and probably even an audio book if we really want to be tech savvy. See, being in a kitchen is relaxing. You just enjoy your time. You're cooking, you're chopping, you can relax, you can think, you can meditate, you put some music. Again, don't forget the wine, because it's important. One more. There you go. Gonna add a little bit of red wine. Gonna adjust the salt. Some black pepper. And we're gonna add tomato San Marzano DOP. There you go. Gonna stir it. Gonna put it up. Our sauce now has to cook, so while the sauce is cooking, we're gonna move and gonna start making our pasta. As I told you, we don't need the gloves to make the pasta because we want to feel the moist of the pasta. So I also have a spray bottle. It's a little trick that I'm going to show you after because sometimes the pasta can get too dry. So just get a little bit of water, vaporize it. So that is going to keep the pasta moist. It's not going to dry or crack when you actually make your sheets. This is the modern mattarello. Gonna check. Of course, every machine has a different settings. So, if I say number 1, number 2, number 3, please, take it with beneficio del dubbio because, every machine can be different when you go the thickness of your sheets. Okay, so I'm gonna take it. Now you see the pasta, the dough is more sticky, but still soft and shiny. That's what you want, okay? You can make it harder, we're gonna do it, just because we're gonna add a little bit of flour now when we work on that. So when you cut the pasta dough, cover back with the plastic wrap, because if not, it's gonna make a crust. It's gonna dry. That's why we also have a spray machine. If you don't want to put it in a plastic wrap, you just put it back in the wrap. Okay, we need a little bit of flour to dust. Both sides. Now we're going to work at the dough. Flour again, because the dough is going to absorb a little bit of flour, so we have to do a couple times. Fino a quando la pasta fa il nervo. So it's kneading the pasta, we did already, but now we need to work it out to make a little bit more solid. There you go. You fold it, you see, I do a libretto, it's a little book. So I'm going to either fold it in 3-folded, and I crossed it. So what you do is 1/2 and another half. And then you're gonna put in the machine. A little bit of flour. If you don't put flour, it's gonna stick to the rollers. And then I cross it again. So it's gonna be developing gluten, folding and folding one another. You do this until you don't find that the dough is nice and firm. It doesn't have to be too soft or too hard. Back in the days, we used to have these nice machines. So one person, like the kids, helping my mother doing the machine, that keep us busy. There was not other distractions like social media and other, channels. There you go. The dough looks a little bit almost ready. Keep an eye on the sauce, which is simmering. If you really like cooking, this sauce can be made ahead of time. And then if you have a jars, you can put in jars. And as the sauce is hot from the pot, put in the jar, seal it, put the jars upside down, let it cool, and you have your homemade sauce ready to go for whenever you're hungry or whenever you don't want to cook. You have something ready in your dispenser, in your pantry. Okay, I think we're there. Now we started using the sides. Always dusting with flour. Okay. So the thickness is a lasagna sheet thickness. So do you ever make lasagna? Think about is the same style. You want to reduce the heat. So while I am stirring the sauce, I'm going to breaking down the tomatoes. So and remember, when you make a tomato sauce, you have two choices. You cook for 2-3 hours, or you just cook for a few minutes. This tomato is already cooked. But if you don't cook enough, it's going to be liquid. So you have to, it's going to take a lot of the broth outside, especially when you use pelati. Pelati hanno l'acqua, they have a water inside. So that's why most of the times our nonna has to cook for 2-3 hours the sauce, to simmer. Okay, so our pasta sheet is done. I'm going to remove this. I need the mozzarella. In the preparation of the garganelli. Now, see, this is a nice pasta sheet. And with this, we can create so many things. Rigatoni, penne, garganelli, tortellini, lasagna, pappardelle, tagliatelle. We can name it. And I tell everybody, say they're actually Italian, they don't really fall in love with pasta. They fall in love with the sauce. Because the reason why they invented so many shapes and different format of pasta, because each sauce is going to marry a different shape and type of pasta. La pasta corta, the short pasta, the long pasta. So la pasta ripiena, where you don't actually look into the sauce, because usually la pasta ripiena, like ravioli, tortellini, tortellacci, cappellacci, they just need a very simple sauce, because you want to enjoy the filling. If you do a heavy filling and a heavy sauce, you will not balance them out, you will not actually enjoy one or the other. And then the most enjoyment thing is to have a la scarpetta, a piece of bread. That is a kiss to the chef. No, back in the days, don't do it. I think it's the best part, That means you enjoy the dish, you enjoy the sauce and the pasta, of course. Now, back to us. I'm going to cut the pasta in squares, 2 inches, 4 centimetri. So from there, pretending that I'm making tortellini. So if I want to do something that can be faster, I can buy one of these accordions and then play music. No, this is just to cut some pasta. So if you have a lot of sheets and you want to just cut it all in once, you can find some tools like this, right? So it helps me to actually cut all the squares. Okay, so this is maltagliati. It's going to become probably maltagliati. Or you mix that together, you just go again to the sheeter, make another sheet, and do that again. And then you have all these other little pieces here. If you're making pasta home, dry this pasta. And then after it's dry, crack it with your hands, and you have a la pastina. You have a little piece of pasta you can use in your broth, in a stock. So when you have a la pastina in broth, in una minestra, if you have a nice soup. Nothing is wasted in Italian cuisine. Okay. Now we go here. And there we go. And there you go. We have our little square. They're gonna ready to become garganelli. Now, this can be also, as I told you, small lasagne. That most of the times in the south of Italy also it's used for chickpeas. So you eat lagane ceci, right? The lagane was probably an ancestor name, or the name that before lasagne, okay? That is consumed in the south of Italy. So now what do we have to do? We're gonna get a stick. We're gonna fold it, and believe it or not, we're gonna almost recreate it. A pasta penne. Does it remember you a penne pasta? So probably Emiliani, they were already ahead, they invented the pasta penne. So we're gonna fold it on a stick, and then we're gonna press it down. There we go. We have our garganelli. Of course, we're gonna make it today 222 pieces, so 2,222 pieces, sorry, to accommodate everybody and have a taste, but that's what we do. So get your square of pasta, fold it, you roll it, you have it on the stick. Now you go on your tab, I'm gonna just help me here, and you roll down. There you go. This pasta can risk to get crusty and dried again. As I told you, you need an hairdresser, small bottle, to vaporize water. And keeping an eye on the sauce. After all this work, we want to eat pasta. So if this pasta, you maybe at the beginning, you take a practice, you need to work on this, takes a lot of time, you have two choices. Get one of the rack, make it a little bit wet, just humid, moist, and you cover, okay? Or you just vaporize the pasta with a little bit of water, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. So that way you avoid the pasta to become crusty. So again, go back here. There you go. The water will also help to stick together. When you put that two corners together, there you go. I'm gonna make one more. but we actually have all the garganelli made ahead. So I'm not staying here to make it the 2,000 garganelli. There you go. That we have in the fridge. Chef, can I have the garganelli, the pasta in the fridge? Okay. One of the other companies that we own in the city is Pastaio. It's my sister company that we also make fresh pasta, and that's we have all garganelli ready here, made from Chef Anthony Sestito from Pastaio. There you go. So we just are waiting now for the water to boil. The sauce, we're going to just have a taste. So we need to adjust the salt. I had a good eye, so I just, with a lot of love, and good food. So that is the secret. So we're going to salt the water. And many people, they ask me, when should I salt the water? You salt the water when the water boils. If you add the water, actually the salt before, believe it or not, the water takes longer to bring to boil. So wait for the water to boil, and then you add the pasta. If there are too many people cooking in a kitchen, who is in charge for the pasta is going to salt the water. Because then if you don't know what to do, say, okay, you're going to salt the water, you're going to salt the water, you risk to get double salt the water. So that is important. Okay, the sauce is ready. Just we're going to add just the pasta. It won't take too long to be cooked, this pasta, because it's very thin. Another way that I enjoy garganelli, if you have a wild boar. So if you actually make a wild boar sugo, nice and rich, like with the mushroom maybe, and a nice tomato sauce, great red wine when you cook it, that is another great recipe that I'm not sharing with you now, but also wild boar is big in Emilia Romagna, but in Italy now almost everywhere, so we have a boar. How long does the fresh pasta cook? So first of all, the pasta, when it comes to fresh pasta, has to come on the top. So it's different from the dry pasta. The dry pasta, when you cook, will sink to the bottom of the pot. It won't come up. But because there is fresh flour and the eggs, there is an effect that actually the pasta, like gnocchi, they're floating on the top. Ravioli, same thing, because there is the egg, there is a reaction, something like that. It usually takes 3 to 4 minutes, and fresh pasta, believe it or not, has to be fully cooked. It's not al dente, because you have to fully cook the egg for the salmonella and other, safeties for us. But again, you will understand when the pasta is cooked because it will come on the top. So that's doesn't need a timer, doesn't need any special degrees or trick to cook a fresh pasta. I hope that everybody is enjoying this masterclass. I want to thank again the Italian Trade Commission for organizing this amazing cooking class. Speaking of Emilia Romagna, thanks also to Confartigianato. And I also thanks to Nella Cucina for having us here today, and everybody who joined the class. So I think that's important. And in a few minutes, we're going to enjoy the Garganelli alla Zingara, celebrating the World Week of Italian Cuisine, the 8th editions. And of course, we're going to also have a charcuterie board. We're going to celebrate Emilia Romagna with the Parmigiano Reggiano, prosciutto crudo di Parma, 24 months, some salame di Modena, and bread and all the condiments. So we're going to enjoy it. So after this boring time of watching this chef talking and doing something probably and hopefully interesting. Sì. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to cover the silent moment. So the sauce is ready. I can actually turn it off so we don't have to do much. If you see, I haven't added any water. All the liquids that come out from the mushrooms, the pepper, I don't cook with stock. So even when I do my risotto, I don't want to open up any conversation, but my risotto is cooked with the only salted water, and all actually flavor comes from the main ingredients. If I make a risotto with asparagus, I want to feel the asparagus. If I add broth, many restaurants, they use a chicken broth or vegetable broth, I won't enjoy anymore the asparagus actually profile because they cover up or we change the profile of the risotto. So, I don't use a lot of stocks in my cooking. I only use natural ingredients and water. As a Mother Nature gave it to us, give water and salt to flavor. And like if you go to in Toscana, they have a focaccia. They made it with a salt. And there was a said, come sa di pane o pane altrui. So Dante was remember that in a Divina Commedia because the Romans were not selling the salt to the Tuscan people, so they could not use salt. So, oh my God, that other bread is so tasty and delicious, and unfortunately we don't have it. So how good is the other people bread? Eh? All right, so let me see what happened. I see the pasta is coming out. Let me try. A little bit more salt. I do find mainly all the ingredients that I want, that I need. It's just a matter of doing a little bit of search or traveling from store to store. Different store, they carry different products as well. It's just a matter of hunting. I would say so. I've been lucky that the last 7 years I was a personal chef. So cooking for people, cooking authentic Italian food allowed me to actually to travel Ontario-wide to find the ingredients that I want. But Toronto nowadays, especially, think about Italy opening now, but in downtown, there is more coverage. But if you go in North York, Vaughan, even Hamilton, they have a great Italian grocery stores. And they, as I said, the Italian Trade Commission and the Italian Chamber of Commerce, a lot of organizations are working very hard in the last 2 decades to bring from Italy the best ingredients. You also see in chain stores like Metro or Walmart, Italian product, which is amazing. It's not just about being Italian, buy Italian product, but it's about eating Italian as a good way of living and as eating good products. So that's the main thing. So it's great to see how those chains of groceries are open up to actually sell product, because that means there is attention, not just from Italians, but from everybody else who wants to, let's say, be Italian or buy Italian or eat Italian. It's fantastic. Okay, so pasta is ready, and we're gonna just toss it and transfer it in here. One of the next steps that we probably need to work a lot is on educating consumers on how to use the product when they buy their product. It's coming, but talking, because there is a lot of products on the shelves, so speaking about how to use this product, it's very, very important and crucial, and this is one of the cases. This is a perfect occasion to show how to use products, how to cook with these products, right? Have more. It's like fishing. Okay. Allora, just we need a plate, pasta dish. There you go. Garganelli alla zingara. Any question? Yep.
Fanno domande.
Sì.
Ripeti la domanda perché se tu
And of course, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to the exceptional traders, importers, distributors, and food service professionals who are here with us today during this session. Thank you. Thank you for your presence. And I sincerely express my gratitude to each one of you. Now that we have concluded the masterclass, stay tuned for people at home, because there's a ben fatto, a photo presentation unveiling the tradition, artisan production methods of the residents of the region nestled between the majestic Alps and the scenic Apennines, the Emilia Romagna region that Luciano has explained us so well. And where its culinary richness is intricately linked to the distinctive features of its landscape. So finally, we can say, everybody, buon appetito. Eh? Buon appetito. And thank you again.
Do we have any question from the floor? Yes.